How to properly prune your tree. My name is Mark Russell with 770 Arborist. I want to talk about a few pruning techniques today. I'm just going to show you a few different things on my own trees. So let's get started. There are a few different types of pruning. Let's start with that. We will talk about canopy thinning, which is an internal cleaning of the canopy when you're pruning out dead branches, dying branches, branches that are crossing or interfering with each other, and downward pointing branches, which kind of gets into a second type of pruning. That would be number 2, would be canopy lifting. A lot of the calls that we get are from people who have grass that's dying. They're asking, how can I get my grass to grow? How can I prune my trees to let in more sunlight? So that would be a canopy lifting cut. And then lastly would be a crown reduction cut, which is a little different than a topping cut, like what they call hat racking, where people want to shape a tree. Believe it or not, trees are not like bushes. You cannot really shape a tree, specifically because trees have a very high elevation to lift up their sap to the very top. It's hard for a tree to do that. A bush is a couple feet high. It can get its material up to the branches pretty easy. Tree has 80 feet to lift that material up. You don't want to introduce air into the tree's vascular system. It'll make it harder for the tree to pull that material up. It also stresses the tree, forcing it to create water sprouts and all sorts of other problems that we're not going to go into on this video, but let me just get right to it. Let's go with pruning and go back and start with interior pruning and thinning. So we're looking for dead, dying, crossing and interfering, and downward pointing. So in this example, crossing and interfering. So what you might see up here on this is this interior branch right there, that middle. That's a little thin, it's a little close. Let's see if I see, oh, there's a great example of one right there. I don't know if I can zoom in on this. Let's see, zoom is unable. You can't see it. Anyway, crossing and interfering is a place where one branch has grown and come across another branch, and it's essentially interfering with and rubbing. The reason you don't want that is one branch is continually rubbing and it irritates the bark. It draws down the tree's energy because the tree can't move it. And so it's constantly trying to heal that irritation on both the branch and whatever else it's rubbing on. You want to take out one of the two. Okay, that's crossing and interfering. Dead and dying is pretty obvious. If you've had an injury to a branch or a fungal attack, insects have gotten at it, whatever it is, and the tree and the branch, that section is starting to die out, you want to get that off so that the tree can start closing that wound and move on to allocating energy toward a different branch. Okay, and then downward pointing, that's obvious, and that's going to be something like this. It's going to start to get in the way of maybe little bushes that are below. So let's talk about the actual pruning cuts and how we make the cuts. So let me bring you in to this area. So what you don't want is you do not want 90-degree angles. So if you notice, you have parallel line here, okay? Both of those are parallel. This is what they call the branch collar, okay? That's the transition from the trunk up to this bottom line, and then the top branch collar is this transition right here. Where you want to cut is on the branch collar, okay, right outside. So right outside would be right there. If you can see, that's your line. What you don't want ever is a 90-degree angle on your cut, either on the top or the bottom. You want slightly less than 90 degrees, which means that you've cut just at the end of the branch collar, slightly in, and here's the science and the reason behind it. You want the very smallest wound possible, the smallest cut face possible. If you go down and do what they call a flush cut, where you follow this line, the problem is it opens that pruning cut and it makes it so that the tree has to heal and allocate more resources to close that wound. The flip side is if you come out here and cut way out on the stub and you leave a stub on it, well, there's not going to be any sap flowing out there, and so the tree will sense that it's dead and try to start healing right here, try to start closing what it senses as a wound. And if it starts trying to close, but there's still a piece of material in it, the decay will enter into the trunk. It won't be able to close. A knot hole will form. And then in years later, you'll get a big old weak spot inside the main trunk, all because you didn't make a proper cut. That's the science behind cutting at the end of the branch collar. Small face allows it to close, doesn't allow decay as quickly to enter the tree. Let's talk about that is proper pruning on the end of the branch collar. Let's talk about something else, and that is when you're doing a crown reduction or thinning, crown reduction cut, trying to bring out, let's say you have a branch here, okay? Let's say this branch is right here. It's starting to rub against the house, and you're a little irritated. You're like, I need to bring some of this back. Now, you can't just willy-nilly go shaping this tree. Instead, you do a crown reduction cut. So let's look at how you do that. I need to find a good example. Here's a good example. Okay, first rule with a crown reduction cut is the one that you leave has to be 50% or bigger of the one that you're cutting. So if you're cutting one that is 1 inch in diameter, the one that's remaining needs to be at least 1/2 inch. And the reason for that, watch this, let me just show you. If we're looking at, okay, so let's look at, here's a branch, okay, comes out from the tree from all the way back here, comes down, okay, we don't want this one for whatever reason. So we have to go, we could prune here, okay, let me see if I can get some good exposure. We could prune there. Okay, that's one place we could prune, because this, and leave this, because that's 50. This one right here is 50% of that one. Okay, but a better place may be to come right over here. Okay, so the reason is, look at the distance. This one goes way out. If we bring it back to here, well, this one actually kind of goes out. And this is a side note. A lot of times, doing crown reduction cuts doesn't really bring the tree back very far. It really depends on how the tree has set itself up. The tree dictates how it can be reduced. Certain trees like Bradford pears, they don't give you any ability. They're so long and lanky, and they don't have very many what they call lateral branches coming out. Anyway, let me just show you real quick. When you do a crown reduction cut, it's really important the angle that you cut it at. Okay, so here is the branch coming out like this. If you're going to leave this branch, what you want, this is a bad example, you want to follow the inside line of this. In this case, your cut would come, golly, I'm probably yelling in the microphone. Your cut angle on this would be just like that. This is a really bad example. Here, let's see. If you were doing a crown reduction cut, cutting this and leaving this, your cut angle typically wants to follow the inside line. It wouldn't quite follow the inside line on this because your branch collar, you've got a lot of branch collar. Sorry, I'm not doing a great example. Let me see about this one. Oh, here's a good one. Okay. If you were going to leave this one, you want to follow the line of this, and what you don't want to do is you don't want your cut to come in like this at this angle. You want your pruners to be like at this angle, and the reason for that is this corner here, you don't want a corner to be right there because the tree won't heal. You want it to follow essentially the angle of the one that you're leaving on the inside. This tree is not giving me a super good place to give you an example. I'm trying to see if there's another one. Let's see. Once again, on a crown reduction, you would follow essentially this one. You can see the branch collar on that. It's kind of lending itself to tell you where to cut it. So anyway, it's the type of tree. Sorry, I'm on live video here. Here's another one. On this one, if you were crown reducing this bigger branch out, you would, once again, you would make a cut like this. You would not make a cut. This is a good example. You would not make your angle of your cut like this. It would be more like that, to follow the inside line of this. And remember, 50% or bigger of the one that you're cutting. Don't leave stubs. That's the biggest thing. If you leave stubs, your tree's going to get stressed out. Okay, is there anything else? I recommend a Corona pruning saw. If you're going to prune with clippers, you need to use a dual clipper with 2 blades, not an anvil. The anvil on one side and the blade on the other. The anvil damages the bark. And then lastly, also, like, you can get a Silky Hyuchi, which is a pole saw. That thing is sharp. It goes up to 21 feet. Above all else, never get on a ladder. Don't get on ladders. The internet is so full of examples where someone will take out a branch. Let's say they're taking out, they climb up, they take out like a big branch, and what happens is it falls down, and when the tip hits the ground and then the branch releases, it makes the branch fall toward their ladder. If you're not qualified, hire an arborist. You know, if you don't have experience, it's really, really dangerous. I just wanted to give some tips on pruning small trees. Some just basic pruning tips. I'm pretty irritated that I didn't find... Okay, let me show you this one. This is a better example. If you were doing a crown reduction cut on this branch right here, this is a great example, okay? If you wanted to reduce this out, here's the perfect example. What you do is you follow this line here. You make your cut right there at that angle, okay? That angle, not squared off. You don't want that inside corner because it'll stress the tree out and make it so that it has to grow around the cut. You don't want. Actually, let me just show you real quick also. I want to show you one other neat thing. I'm going to put it on pause. Okay, so I wanted to show you a good example of a crossing and interfering branch. If you can see, that stub that's right there used to have a branch that grew across it, right across here. And if you can see, I'll just show you closely, that was 3 years ago. And I gently pruned, and it's now 100% sealed, which is really neat because that's 3 years of growth. And it's going to bring me to my last point. I know this was a long video, sorry. Anytime you get rolling of the healing of the, not everybody knows this, but trees only have new cell production capabilities right underneath the bark called the cambium layer for the trunk part of the tree. Obviously, they can create new cells in their leaves, their buds, their seeds, their whatnot. But in the trunk, the only new cell capability is right under the bark called the cambium layer. If you damage, if there's been damage on that and it's starting to roll and you see, you know, it's trying to heal that callus, it's set up internal layers inside that callus to prevent decay entering in. What you never want to do is scrape or damage that callus because that callus has organic internal layers to prevent decays spreading or to inhibit it. If you penetrate that, it can't reset up new layers on layers that it's already set up. So it can really affect decay entering a tree. So the reason I pointed this out is I was super careful to make sure that I did not, because there was a branch going across there and it had started to callus, and I was really careful not to damage it. And 3 years later, it's 100% healed. So if you have an area that you have crossing and interfering, be real careful not to scrape that rounded area because you don't want to create a situation where decay is going to go into your tree and the tree can't fight it off. Okay, that's it. Mark Russell, 770 Arborist. Sorry for the long video. I hope this helps you thin the interior of your tree if you have to, prune, understand a little bit about canopy lifting, which we never talked about, but essentially canopy lifting's canopy lifting. Regarding your grass growing, get bigger mulch islands. I'm a big proponent of mulch simply because grass and trees don't mix. Okay, guys, that's it. If you guys have any questions about your trees, feel free to give me a call. We'd love to come out. We can give you a free estimate. We're ISA certified. We're arborists taking care of trees in the Atlanta area. You guys take it easy. Bye-bye.